סיום מסכת מנחות. ושחט את בן הבקר שתהיה שחיטה לשם בקר. אמר לו, זו בידינו הוא, לעכב מניין, תלמוד לומר, לרצוכם תזבחו, לדעתם זבחו. Welcome to סיום מסכת מנחות. We'll explain the last paragraph of the Gemara. The Gemara is talking about when someone sacrifices an animal. When he slaughter it, when he makes the shechita, he has to have a kavanah that he is making a shechita. Let's say, what about if he pick up a knife and he threw it in the air and it went and it did the shechita kadin. In sacrificing of kadashim, it's not valid. We have to make sure that he has a kavanah for the slaughtering. So the Gemara said, where you know that? The Gemara bring a pasuk that says, "V'shachat et ben abakar." He has to slaughter the bull. It means he has to know that what he's doing. So Shemuel said, this we know, that lekatchila is not supposed to do it. But what I'm asking you is what happens if he does it after the fact? Is it valid or not? So the Torah bring another pasuk, "Lirtzonchem tizbechu," which means you have to be aware of it. Usually in subject of Kadashim, when the Torah repeats something, it means that even after the fact, if you do it, is not valid. Now, the Chazon Ish has a problem with this explanation. He said if you threw up a knife in the air and it make a shechita, even in shechita of chulin, regular shechita, is not valid also. Therefore, he is explaining it a little differently. He's saying that what the Gemara mean, when you make the shechita, you have to be aware of it. It means you have to be aware that it's leshem korban, that you're sacrificing something to Hashem. You cannot think it's a chulin. You have to know that it's lezevach leshem Hashem. On that, he bring a pasuk, v'shachat et ben abakar, which means you have to know what you're doing. And if you did it after the fact, we have another pasuk that says, lirtzonchem tizbechu. It means that is not valid. Masechet, we were talking now about the animal sacrifice, but here, in general, Masechet Menahot is not talking about animal sacrifice, it's talking about a korban which called korban mincha. In general, mincha is like flour mixed up with the oil and some wine on the side. It's called, the Torah call it korban, and it says, nefesh kitakrif korban. This is like the not expensive korban, that even a poor person can bring it. But the Torah calls it nefesh. It means when an ani, a poor one, brings it, it's like he's bringing his soul. Now, there is different kind of menachot. There is like 5 different voluntary menachot. There is some menachot that are obligatory. There is some menachot that are a single person can bring them. There is some menachot that the tzibur bring them. There is many details about these things. And the Gemara and that's what the Gemara is talking about. One interesting thing is, menachot is called korban, so it's similar to korban. Like in the korban, there is few avodot. There is in a korban a shechita, slaughtering. The menachot, the kohen comes and he remove a piece. It calls it a kometz. He removes some kind of the flour, and that's called kemitzah. That's equivalent to the shechita. He put it after that in a keli sharet. It's equivalent to like receiving the blood in a keli. He's taking it to the mizbeach. This is the avodah of holacha. Like in the animal sacrifice, we have holacha. And in the animal sacrifice, in the end, the Kohen sprinkle the blood. Here, instead of sprinkling the blood, he take the kometz and he offer it on the mizbeach. So these 4 avodot are equivalent to the 4 avodot of menachot, of animal sacrifice. Interesting enough, on the 3rd perek, the Gemara all of a sudden is talking about dinim and halachot of Sefer Torah, mezuzah, and tzitzit. It came like from some kind of association to something. And this perek is very important because all the halachot of Sefer Torah, mezuzot, and tzitzit are basically from that perek. So we'll touch 2 small halachot. How do we know that when we put the tefillin, we have to put them on the left hand? So the Gemara bring few explanations. we'll bring two of them. One of them that mostly everybody knows is it says "Ukshartam leot al yadecha." When it says al yadecha, the Torah spell it with the hay in the end. Usually it's supposed to be spelled without the hay. Yadecha without the hay. What does it mean, the hay? Yadecha, your yad keha. In English it means the weak hand. Which is the weak hand of the person? The left hand. And another explanation there is, it says, "Ukshartam leot al yadecha, uchtaftam al mezuzot betecha v'sharecha." The Torah compare the ketiva, writing, to the tying. In what hand we write usually? With the right hand. So it means the tying of the tefillin has to be done with the right hand. It means that you have to put it on the left hand. If you tie with the right hand, you put it on the left hand. What about if someone is a lefty? So Shulchan Aruch in the Halachot, it said that you put it on the right hand. What about if you do some things in the right hand, but you write? You do something in the left hand, but you write in the right hand. There is machloket about it. Shulchan Aruch posek that if you write in the right hand, you put it on the left. That's the Halachot. There is, like our minhag is always to bring some midrash from the masechet. It's a deep midrash, but our job is sometimes to pick up something from it, something that we can understand. It says like that: when Moshe went to Shamayim to receive the Torah, before he received the Torah, he saw HaKadosh Baruch Hu sitting down. The Torah is finished, and he's putting ketarim, crowns, on the letters. What is crowns on the letter? If someone opened the Sefer Torah, you see there is all kind of tagim and crowns on top of each letter. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was kiviyachol putting the ketarim. And Moshe asked him, Hashem, why you holding the Torah? You can't give it without that? So what's Hashem answer him? He tell him, in the future generation, there will be a rabbi, that his name will be Akiva ben Yosef. That's our famous Rabbi Akiva, that will make maybe thousands of halachot from each of these crowns. So Moshe heard it. He said, could you show me this in a vision to see? I want to see this Rabbi Akiva. He told Moshe, step back, I'm taking you to the future. He saw in a vision, he entered to the room that Rabbi Akiva and his students are studying. Moshe Rabbeinu entered there. You know how is in the later generation, there is always like a kolel. There is the intakes and the argument. Moshe entered to that midrash. He could not understand anything what's going on. Moshe Rabbeinu, because the way that they were studying Torah, in the later generation, we're using like the external intellect. Moshe used to get the Torah by nevuah, by prophecy, with the internal intellect. He was connected to Hashem. He could not understand like the people arguing. So he got a little bit confused and weak. All of a sudden, he saw that a student is asking Rabbi Akiva, how do you have proof for that? So Rabbi Akiva told him, Halacha leMoshe miSinai. Moshe heard it, he got relieved. That, it's the same Torah. It's the Torah that I know, that is the Torah they have. So he asked Hashem, if you have a rabbi so great, like Rabbi Akiva, Moshe did not get the Torah yet, why don't you give the Torah with him? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell Moshe, step back, don't ask, that's my plan. Then Moshe is asking him, can you show me what is reward? Hashem tell him, step back and I'll show you. He showed him, Rabbi Akiva was one of the Asara Haruge Malchut. The Roman killed him on Kiddush Hashem. They combed his flesh with the iron comb, and they sold his flesh in the market. So Moshe Rabbeinu got amazed. He told Hashem, this is the Torah, and this is Sechara. This is the reward for the Torah. So Hashem told him, please Moshe, step back. This is my plan. That was the Midrash. It's a very hard Midrash, but we have to understand something from it. We see that even Moshe Rabbeinu, the wisest man that ever lived, he got to a point that he could not understand everything. He could not understand why the Torah was given by him and not by Rabbi Akiva. He could not understand this kind of punishment. There is things sometimes that are behind our understanding. When Moshe Rabbeinu was asking that question, we know, he could not get into it. There is always some kind of boundary that we cannot go above that. Each person has a lot of knowledge and a lot of things, but it has to have its limitation. במופלא ממך אל תדרוש. Something that is beyond your boundaries and understanding, sometimes you don't understand. Sometimes one of the great rabbis, I forgot his name, said that the purpose we came to the world is to realize that we don't understand everything. We live in society that knows a lot. We know technology, we know science, we know economy, we know even genetic engineering. But you have to know that not everything we know for perfect. What we can really know is, for instance, when you read Masechet Menachot, this is something that people like to pay attention to it. We were like 2 months ago in the high holidays. We read Masechet Menachot. You know the Gemarot, the Daf Yomi is 2,500 pages. All of a sudden, the evening of Rosh Hashanah, from nowhere, the Daf is talking about some seeds that were planted before Rosh Hashanah and Acharei Rosh Hashanah, in the same day of Rosh Hashanah. 10 days later, come Yom Kippur. We're opening the Daf Yomi. What's from nowhere it came. It talks about Ibur Hashanah, when you incline the ear. It says that when you incline the ear, the Beit Din used to send a message to the diaspora, and they used to accept it, that they declined the ear. They would not do Yom Kippur on the day, they will do it a month later. They will not do Pesach on that day, they will do it a month later. In the end of the day, but there is a doubt here, maybe you are eating on Yom Kippur. Maybe you're eating Chametz on Pesach. What page was that? The day of Kippur. Talking about Yom Kippur. So I'm showing it to my friend. There's Jack Hazen that always show connections between the Daf and an event. He told me, I marked this page 7.5 years ago, because the cycle of the Daf Yomi is 7.5 years ago. He said, I marked this page. You know why? Because 7.5 years ago, it came on the day of Pesach. So look at the connection. We go forward. There's the holiday of Shemini Atzeret. We open the page. 2 times the word Shemini is mentioning in the page. Holidays are over. Came October 11. I mark the day. We're reading in the page. All of a sudden, the subject in the Menahot, the Gemara is asking why we waving the lulav up and down, east and west, right and left, and the answer of the Gemara is to protect the world from bad winds, from bad hurricanes. Look at the date, October 11. That was a Hurricane Michael that came to Florida. And,
yes,
Baruch Hashem, it was okay. So these kind of things we can know. This is nothing behind our understanding. We have to pay attention to that. Some people will tell you that it's a coincidence. I will say it's amazing, and I see that Hashem is telling you, you are my nation. You are thousands of people are studying Daf Yomi in unity. I will show you that there is events that are connected to the world in general and to Am Israel in particular. So this is something you can know. And I think the time is right. One personal experience that I had many years ago, and probably some people pay attention to it. Maybe some people know, some people yes. There was Parashat Vayetze 2 weeks ago. In the Parashat Vayetze, in the end, Yaakov is making a peace treaty with Lavan, and it says there that they build a matzeva, a monument. Vayikra la Yaakov Gal'ed, veLavan kara la Yagar Sa'aduta. When I was a boy, I was asking all the time myself, why the Torah using this kind of language in Aramaic, Yagar Sa'aduta, Yagar Sa'aduta, what does it mean? There's a targum to it, but it's not the way of the Torah to talk like all the time in Aramaic, a word like that. Which is the most famous peace treaty in the modern history? One of the most famous peace treaties in the modern history is the peace between Israel and Egypt. In 1977, the president of Egypt is the first Arab leaders that ever came to the Knesset, and they signed a peace treaty. His name was Anwar Sadat. If you look at the word, it's the same word like the Sadat that it says in the parasha. He came in November 19, 1977. If you look at the date, that was the week of Parashat Vayetze. So these kind of things, okay, you can say coincident. I see that Hashem is showing it to us. And this is something that really we can know about it. Yeh Ratzon, that we use our brain and the knowledge that Hashem gave us to reach our potential. You don't have to go beyond your boundary, but with the potential that Hashem gave you, you try to use it in Torah and mitzvot. עד לביאת משיח צדקנו במהרה בימינו אמן. After the other